for me, you were the first high-profile rugby player. Being introverted and having that, how tough was that to deal with?
I just fought that whole experience. Oh, I don't want this to happen. I don't want people to notice me because of that insecurity, and I don't want this. And I fought and fought and fought, and it just got worse. And then you kind of just have one moment where you go, ah. And when I hit France, suddenly I was in a sunny place near the sea with people speaking a different language.
Newcastle's not sunny.
Well, you know, then they do speak a bit of a different language.
Welcome to episode 2 of Sporting Inspirations, brought to you by the RFU Injured Players Foundation and Great Britain Wheelchair Rugby. I suspect you'll have heard a lot of Jonny Wilkinson. I doubt you'll have heard him talking much like this. It's a meeting of minds, Paralympian and IPF member Jack Smith chatting to a member of the Injured Players Foundation support squad. It'll have you thinking about how you approach life and how to get the best out of it. Enjoy.
It's pretty mega, isn't it? So we're joined by IPF squad member Jonny Wilkinson.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess I'm quite intrigued as to how you first got involved with the IPF. Why? When you first heard of it?
I didn't hear about it until only probably more recently. I started once I was out the game and exploring life after the game and the power of being able to still follow your dreams and passions. Once you'd finished, I suddenly started to look back at how I played the game and wonder where my balance was, and my retirement to start to really appreciate that side of health and well-being, having a daughter and being able to spend time with her and have new passions and hobbies. Then I became aware of the IPF, and I was suddenly, I don't know, it was the right time for me to go, geez, this is an incredible thing, because it really touched upon my much more holistic and I think balanced and open perspective of what life's all about, which when I was young, it was very much like, it's about winning and it's about being the man and it's about standing out. And now I'm sat there going, okay, that's one part of life. It's not life. And I think that needs to be undergirded by this sense of something bigger and deeper. And the IPF represents that for me in such a big way.
Because in my opinion, you know, the IPF stands for everything that rugby stands for, and that this stuff happens, but it could happen anywhere. But we also have this great charity that takes care of these people for life. And like you said before, it's given me the opportunity now to push on and chase my dreams, which, yeah, they're not what they were before, but I mean, when are they ever the same throughout your life? Does that need celebrating more, moving to the forefront more? Would that have changed your mindset as a young rugby player coming through if you knew that, you know, if something terrible ever did happen, you'd be okay, you'd be looked after?
Do you know what? I completely agree with you in terms of the IPF. What it embodies, what it stands for. I've had evening calls with some players that have had some life-changing injuries, and we've spent hours on the phone talking, and the whole and hearing from the IPF themselves, and then from the players, and hearing what it all does. It's like ludicrously inspiring. It's a beautiful combination of all the safe, supportive, open, caring stuff, plus the other end of the inspiring, helping you to go after what you want. It's perfect, and it embodies rugby and what's necessary in that team environment to be a real team. And celebrating it is huge. And the awareness of it needs to be huge. But as you said, there's also an issue with that. I think human nature is that, like you said, it doesn't happen often, but sometimes the human brain can see something and make it a big thing and sort of think it's way more than it is. But you want to keep that balance right, so people see the sport as safe like it is to the whatever degree it is. But at the same time, they also know that, like anything, you want to know that if on that rare occasion there's anything to worry about, you've got this amazing entity and team to get you back, which is, as you said, I mean, how cool would that be to know if you're ever in trouble, we got you.
Yeah.
I mean, not just we've got you as in like, we can give you a bit of this, but like, no, we're a family. So, oh my gosh, that's enormous.
I guess you've had your own injury struggles yourself as well. I mean, I remember growing up a Newcastle fan, and it seemed that after that 2003 World Cup, you were never there. I was like, where's Jonny? Where's Jonny?
It felt like that as well. It felt like that.
Yeah. I guess how tough was that for you in those moments to come back from those injuries? I imagine you were pushing hard to maybe even get back before you should?
Yeah, I can tell you sort of, I'll give you a brief run of what kind of happened with me. Was that from about 1997 when I went up there as an 18-year-old, just turned 18, I was given every facility and by that I mean the pitches, the balls, plus the personnel of great, set up teammates, ridiculous teammates, incredible coaches. On top of that, a couple of the most sort of inspirational, motivational coaches you could imagine, supportive coaches as well. Plus this kind of opportunity, this platform to go out there and just express your skills. It was like, right, it was dangerous. It was like giving an addict everything they wanted. And you're kind of like, I'm in. And that was it. The life was lived at that pace. I was a youngster. I'd had a few sort of bangs, and I got a classic sort of stinger down, a couple of stingers down my shoulder as like a youngster. So that was probably a susceptible point for me. And that kept happening over the first 5 or 6 years. I had one shoulder injury. I had a groin operation before the World Cup happened. After the World Cup, everything just, maybe my body just sort of went a kind of, that's done. And my body suddenly just clenched almost. And then, I wanted to sort of speak with you about was that there was an opportunity for me there to recover. I just didn't know how. I had these two energies within me, this passion, which was a really beautiful one, but this other one, which was powerful, but not in a balanced, healthy way, which was like, just, I have to. And as soon as I came from the World Cup, where I felt like I got to here, as soon as I got injured and every time I wasn't on the field, I felt like I was falling down here. And all I kept saying to myself was, I have to get back to where I was. Not, I have to see who I'm becoming, and I have to explore this passion and find out who I'm supposed to be. It was like, I don't care about growth or change. It's like, I have to get back there. Even though when I was there, I wasn't any happier, really. And that fight to try and get back just meant I never really healed. And a couple of times they sort of said, you might not come again. One was come back. One was my knee. One was my neck. And the other one was my kidney. And they sort of said, you might not come back from this knee. But the French team, Toulon, took a gamble on me. And when I hit France, suddenly I was in a sunny place near the sea with people speaking a different language.
In Newcastle's not sunny.
Well, then they do speak a bit of a different language. But suddenly I felt like I'm on holiday. And that, plus playing rugby, the balance came back a bit. Over about 2 or 3 years, that balance disappeared again. And suddenly I was back to the stress. And I had to manage myself well until the end of the season, but at the end of my career. But ultimately, I just didn't know how to recover. And I know, going to that story of my injuries, and a bit like retirement, I always had this sense that I've got the next game. But retirement, you're like, even when you have an injury, you're told that you might be out for 10 or 11 months. And even when they say you might not come back, you kind of like, you got a feeling that you will. And you've always got next weekend. Retirement, you haven't. And that hits you in a different way. But being injured in your way, where suddenly like, it's not about, have you got next weekend? Your whole life changes. And I want to know what that's like for you when you have an injury where there is presumably part of it which says there is no going to next weekend the way you were.
Yeah, I guess I kind of knew straight away what I'd done. So I was laid on a pitch. I thought that like, this isn't right. I've got a fair idea that
straight away.
Yeah, I could feel the bones pop in and the pins and needles, everything. It's like, it's not great. And I think it's very similar in what you're saying, to be honest, in that next weekend for me was, how quickly can I get out of hospital and get home? What do I need to do to get out of hospital and get home? Then after that, it was, I want to go back to college. Well, I didn't really want to go back, but there was nothing else to do at the time. So what do I need to do to get back to college? Then I found wheelchair rugby, and it was, how do I progress at that? So there's always been that
next opportunity,
that next thing. And I think you see it with people who are maybe older and having their accidents. when they've got a lot more responsibilities in life, they're a lot more settled in life. They maybe don't have ideas or ambitions beyond kind of what they're doing.
Yeah.
You see those guys in hospital rehabbing, and I felt, were often the ones that struggled to come to terms with it a bit more.
Wow.
So I always feel like that's benefited me being young, benefited me being quite naive to it.
Yeah. Okay.
God only knows what me mum and dad were going through at the time. But for me, it was just, get me home, get me to college, get me on a night out. All those just getting back to normal life was my next weekend.
Has there been a time where that next thing has not come quite so quickly? Is there a time where it was maybe the more challenging? You mentioned going back to college, being around people you knew who saw you before and now they're seeing you as, you now. Any of these things sort of touch on you more than others?
Not massively. I've always had the same group of friends I played rugby with is the same group of friends now, and that's
lovely.
No different, treat me no different. I guess kind of breaking into the GB squad was the longest, hardest kind of slog of it all. It was always a goal, but I was always, told, oh, you're not good enough at the minute, you're not good enough at the minute.
Okay, nice.
But it's just, like you say, it's that absolute drive, like, no, I'm going to do it, I'm going to get there. And much like you were saying with France and things like that, I've just had a daughter myself, so she's 18 months now, and that's definitely shone a light on the fact that, it's not the be-all and end-all, this rugby stuff. But has it stopped me training as hard? I'd argue not.
What do you put that passion down to? Like you said, I think it's because my rugby was kind of, I'm after winning.
Yeah.
And I'm after, trying to achieve this and everything. And then when I look back at it, I kind of realize that now, as I get a bit more of an understanding of myself, I realize that there was more to it than that. And I think it was something to do with just trying to find out what I was capable of. And that drive was almost kept me restless. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was sort of sitting around, I'd be like, I've got to get going. I've got stuff to do. I've got stuff to find out. And I think it hit some of my younger beliefs about what success meant and what happiness was going to be. But underneath it, there's this just energy, which for me in this lifetime is going, come on, let's get after something. And I think when you mentioned about the injuries, that energy is too strong to sort of focus too much on what if I never come back? Or you're like, I just never thought about it. And it sounds like you might be in a similar position where a lot of people might go, well, how come you don't look at things like this? But you're saying, it's just, I've got stuff to get busy with.
Yeah, I think that is the thing, isn't it? And is that us making ourselves busy to not wonder about all that other stuff is.
But then it sounds like you enjoy your rugby.
I love rugby. I love the mundane of it.
I do.
I love, people always say, oh, it's hard work, getting up and you've got this stuff to do on your own and that's the hardest stuff. I love doing it.
The discipline
of
just
that structure.
Yeah.
It's like, I always struggle when we have time off because I don't know what to do with myself.
Tell me about it.
I find myself going training and still doing stuff.
Well, like you said about we were talking earlier, you were saying about getting in almost like being slightly your own problem of, like you have these injuries and you're kind of like, well, if I wanted to be honest with myself, I'd be like, to give myself the best shot of coming back, I could really do with some real healing time. And what's that going to look like? And and I was like, yeah, but I'm not doing that. As in like, yeah, but you need to stay off that. I'm like, yeah, I'll stay off that. And the next day you're like, I wonder if I can just do this. Is that staying off it? If I go on a bike? And then after the bike, you're like, what if I go running? And before you know it, you're not staying off it at all. But there's something really powerful about having that drive. And then I think it carries a bit of, if you like, for me, it's been the thing that keeps telling me more about who I am is that passion. And when it meets something that it really has to face, like this energy in me or this need to heal, it's a real challenge. to sort of know how to not give into it.
Do you think that's the same post rugby as well?
Yeah.
With business and things like that. Have you always had an idea of what you wanted to do after rugby, and has that really benefited in achieving those things?
Yeah, I haven't always had an idea, but what I have had is this kind of energetic sort of push, whereas I'll get really sort of maybe fatigued or worn out, and I'll say, I just need a break. I've got to get away, and I'll go away for a holiday. And I'll have 2 days, and I'll be like, oh yeah. And then I'll look, and I'm outside with a rugby ball, and I'm going, what am I doing? But it just happens. And I keep saying to myself, I wonder if I could get to this stage in my life, trying to convince myself that I won't just start something new. And maybe I'm starting to accept that that's part of that fun, guide in my life, that I need to sit back and have a look. But I think going back to what you were saying maybe a bit earlier with your mates in and around rugby, I think what I'm starting to recognize more than ever is the importance of surrounding yourself with your people right now. Do you know what I mean? People that help you manage those energies, and it's difficult to know what those people, you can't just pick them logically and go, well, I need someone that does that. It's a real heartfelt thing. You just know. It sounds like you found yours.
Yeah. But then equally, I feel like I sometimes hold off or might not put the effort into new relationships because I'm always like, I've got what I need. Like, I don't need more friends. I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
So I always find like, am I doing myself, out of potentially something that not like, I'm not going to get better than my mates, but it's just nice to make new connections, isn't it? And things like that.
Yeah.
And at the minute, I maybe don't put effort in. I won't talk to anyone else from another team because I'm like, I don't, as interesting as it might be, or they might be the best player in the world and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, I don't need you.
But that's, do you know what? It's a good sign that you feel, I think, that you feel like you've got so much of what you need. But I can say I was exactly the same when I was playing. When you're here, you're on a mission. And sometimes people in my world, when I was on that mission, were kind of really brilliantly supportive and took a lot from me in order for me to go after that mission. And I think when you're on that drive, opening up to those things like, oh, do you want to come out for a dinner party and meet these people? You're a bit like, no, I've got training in the morning. Will it hit all my nutritional marks? Yeah, exactly. And you're on that mission, which is so, and I think it would be difficult to force it. That's what I think one of my biggest learnings has become. I've become quite conscious of when I'm forcing something. And I have to ask myself, why am I forcing it? And does it feel good to force it? And I've making new connections, like with the IPF, for example, in a really more effortless way without knowing it, just knowing that this is what I feel about life. And it almost attracts things to it. And I think in the zone you might be in now, you might be attracting people that allow you to really go after your mission because it's so important to you in your life. And I'm in a position now where I've kind of went after my mission. Now I'm on a slightly different mission. I'm giving off a different energy and I'm having different experiences. But I think, I'm an introvert. I'm terrible with like dinner plans. I'm like, no, and you mentioned about training on your own. Geez, that's one. So many people are like, oh, I can't train on my own. I find it hard to train with people. I'm just like, I like this quiet, calm, just bang, it's me, really in that space. But I'm also recognizing at times I need to have that opening as part of my healing. So that's why I have and I like to be able to share, honestly. So I love chats like this, where nothing's off the table and you don't feel like you're competing and trying to hold stuff back. Like you said, you speak to another team member who might be the best in the world, but there's also this thing of being like, I'm trying to beat you. Why do I want to speak to you? Like, why do I want to share stuff with you? Whereas, and that's awesome in that side, but you also need that connection part as well, I think.
So did you find that, like even in that successful World Cup squad, there was maybe dishonesty, not fully sharing every little secret that people know?
That's a really good question. It's a really good question because it's such a brilliantly powerful but challenging dynamic. Because you mentioned I was at Newcastle for a lot of that time. Then I was in France for a bit, but I was in Newcastle, and you'd come down, join the squad, and be like, hey, how you doing? With people that had just been trying to batter you for the weekend. And you end up in little scuffles, and you're kind of like, and some of the players, when they're on your team, you're like, I'm so glad you're on my team. You've just played against them, and they're doing to you what you're glad they're doing to other people. And you're like going, but the whole thing of the rugby is that the brilliant thing about rugby is you go out there, everyone from who they are gives everything they can, and afterwards you go, bang, it's a game and everything. But they're competitive animals, and that's why you're down there. And it's a bit like the whole kind of, you get put on the subs bench, and you're sort of told, right, you really want the best for the team, but you're like, but I'm here to play. How do I sit back and go on, I want you to be the best in the world, without feeling a bit like, oh, what does it mean to me? And marrying that is such a challenging thing. And giving up that ego part of you that's like, let's go, I'm going to be the best here, isn't the answer. But giving up the, I care about my mates, isn't the answer either. It's like playing that. But definitely some of those guys, when you played against them, you're like, oh my gosh. Like, I feel very differently about you than when I see you on the weekend, but that's probably how it has to be. There's people that you have a different relationship with slightly. Like I had one with someone like Mike Catt, who has played a lot of number 12. And he was like a big sort of mentor to me. I shared a room with him early on in my career, and I was full of that fear of failure. And I remember looking at him and going, he was like 32 and I was like 19, 18. And I looked at him and went, it does get easier, doesn't it? And he went, no, it gets harder. And I was like, oh, you're kidding me. But he was that guy that was willing to take my, and then when we play against Bath, when he was playing for Bath, or when he played for London Irish, I'd hit a kick or he'd hit a kick and I'd be chasing after it and he'd be chasing it as well. And he'd just jump on my back in the middle of the game, but way and like give me and I'm sort of going, oh, or sort of when I did something, he'd be like, nice one. And you're just going, there is a balance, but you can't force that. Because sometimes when a prof is just destroying you, you don't go, all right, mate, because they're like, you're like, okay, we're good.
I'm doing it, loving it.
But, well, exactly, yeah. And I think that's it. It's the fact that it's just about deep down caring about everyone whilst realizing that on a level, this other energy is important. But you tell me about wanting to go and speak to other players. I didn't have that. I struggled after games to be like, yeah, how you doing? Unless it was people that I had a real connection with who brought me up in the game and and probably to a degree, people that had been through us. Mike Catt had been through a huge amount of public scrutiny and all this. And I think it'd become so kind of like, and that then you go, I can get closer there. But when you've got young guys together who are all like, I'm trying to get mine, you're going to find it difficult to.
The walls are up.
The walls are up stuff. But then that's what you watch sport for. I bet I get the feeling that when you're playing your sport, you're not there to have fun and have a good time.
No, and as much as we get told that's
what it's about,
the all and end all of it, it's not, is it? But I guess in that there are moments where it is fun. If I do something I maybe shouldn't do and it's amazing, I'll let people know. I've skinned you and I'll give it a big way on the way past. And
but you could also
people up in that little
open
bit.
Up so like that may happen back to you.
Exactly. And embrace it when it does.
And embrace it, exactly.
Well done,
well done you. Yeah.
I think that's something that is changing now. I think the enjoyment side of it is coming in a lot more.
Yeah.
And certainly with psychologists and things like that at the minute, they're trying to push that really heavy.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because you're not going to win all the time, are you? You can't win all the time. You can't always succeed, but you can certainly have a lot of fun along the way doing it.
I'm keen to understand, you set your sights on the Paralympics and the wheelchair rugby after your injury, but was there some kind of trigger in there which suddenly got you excited about that opened your eyes to it and got you on that path, as it were?
Yeah. So I got into rugby initially when I was rehabbing in hospital. Met a guy and he was, set up the local club and said, come along, give it a go. So that was 2008. Instantly fell in love with it, but never really saw that progression in it.
So what were you doing? Just you going there
just
for a
recreational,
bit? Yeah, and just having a bit of fun, meeting people.
And then London 2012 was coming around, and a few of us got tickets and went down for the week just to watch the rugby.
Oh yeah.
And that really opened my eyes to what the sport could be, what Paralympic sport could be. Everything before that had just been the same people who were playing, but you just see them in the sports hall on the weekend with nobody there watching. But to then see, 10,000 people in an arena.
The buzz must have been huge.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. It really showed to me, what it can be, what it can give you. I want a bit of that. Maybe not the playing in front of that massive crowd, because that is daunting.
Also, within an arena, I've been in one of those crowds. The noise is amplified. Yeah, everything is like bad, it feels like you're like, oh my gosh, it's like right around you.
We make such a thing of communication. It's just like
you can't hear anything.
No, I mean, I don't know what it's like on the pitch at Twickenham or something like that. Seeing that buzz around rugby and the buzz around Paralympic sport, I think was what really triggered that initial drive for me. And then it just grows from there, doesn't it? And then you realise what you got to do and how you go about doing it.
Yeah. And probably feels like at the beginning, sort of like, that's happening down there. Here I am. That's not a short path. That's not just, guys, can I play tomorrow? That's like a kind of, right, okay, time to get moving. Small things every day, chipping in, setting your sights high, keeping yourself honest.
Yeah, it was 5 years, I think, before.
Is that what it was?
So from that to that, 5 years.
Any moments where you were like, this ain't happening?
Many. So they'd run two squads, so they'd have a talent squad and the elite squad. I went down for a trial for the talent squad, got knocked back. Thought, well, it's never going to, I can't even get in a talent squad. How am I going to make it to the elite squad?
And also trials are tough.
Brutal.
Aren't they? It's not even about go out there and try and win. It's like, you got to try and like earn a position and do for this and,
Yeah. So that was rough. And then the person who never selected me for that ended up being head coach of the elite squad. So it's like double whammy. You didn't want me then, you're not going to want me now. But it's just that drive, isn't it? Well, I want it, so I'm going to
almost like
do
so
it
what?
And get it, yeah.
Yeah, learn what you need to learn. And then it's like, there is no truth about any of this. I'll make my own truth.
Yeah. I guess you were saying you were very introverted before. You've obviously been, I guess, for me, you were the first high-profile rugby player. Being introverted and having that, how tough was that to deal with? Is it something that's still as big today? Because that was 2003, all went massive. You've been retired now,
what? 11 years.
Really?
Yeah.
That's gone quick, hasn't it?
I'm not older than him, but
Has that high-profile side of it lessened any? Is it still as awkward to just go to the shop? Or?
Definitely lessened, but again, it's. And I really want to ask you about this, but there's something about the power for me in taking charge of what you want in your life. You have to kind of create it within you first. And this issue was I'm there being like, I don't want people to notice me because this, and it's meaning this to me, and it's meaning this or whatever. But that very whole inner world I've created is what's making it happen on the outside. It's what's making me look awkward to people, which is making them go, oh, look at him. Whereas when you have that space, and lots of guys were amazing at this, in the England squad at the time, you have the inner space of being like, I'm good with it. And suddenly on the outside, it changes. I wanted the outside to change, whilst I wanted to stay the same. And all I did was make more of what I didn't want appear around me, and I'd get more reactive to this happening, I'll go out less. And as I went out less, it became more of a bigger thing when I did go out, because I went out less. But it's also not just as simple as saying, oh, you need to just get out more, because that's a big step to change the way that you see life. And like I said, naturally, it seems that introverted side, I'm a bit more contemplative with regard to how things are in my life. I like that inner solitude, the quiet, the moments like that. And so someone just says, you need to get out more and be more extrovert. You're like, it's not me. But there is a point where if you want the outside to change, you've got to go there. And this I think is back to that space of holding on to who you want to be. That seems to be a constant thread in my life, whilst being able to also move towards who I'm becoming. And the things that are helping me become, or showing me who I'm becoming, are often, like I said before, the challenges I can't walk away from. I can't get away from. Like that hits you and you're like, oh gosh, the more I fight, the more it's hurting. And the more I fight, and I just fought that whole experience. Oh, I don't want this to happen. I don't want people to notice me because of that insecurity. And I don't want this. And I fought and fought and fought, and it's got worse. And then you kind of just have one moment where you go, ah, and suddenly it's like, oh, and it just caught with me to realize that I've got to start looking after me. And I have to say, being involved with the IPF, having the conversations I've already had, speaking to the likes of yourself, seeing what you're up to, it's always been the sort of trigger I need to make me realize anything's possible for me. Because you see people owning situations in their life where you go, wow, I'm not sure I'd be able. And it just shows you anything's possible. And I think it's that sort of, like I said, hold on to the thread of what I want in my life. I'm not stopping that. But at the same time, realizing that where I sort of start fighting and it's not helping, you kind of have the humility to go, okay, life is going to change a bit. I'll go with that while still bringing me. I'm wondering what that's been like for you. Do you see yourself as being, big question, do you ever see yourself as being inspiring?
No, far from it.
You see your everyday self, do you?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, people ask you to come and do stuff like this or go and do talks, and you're like, oh, really, like, my life's not that interesting, and I don't see being that elite athlete as being that interesting. But then you look back and reflect on when you're younger, and you say, oh, that must be amazing doing all that. I wonder what they're up to today. And I just feel like it's not, I get up, I have my breakfast like everyone else, I have a shower, I train, like it's just like going to work, and it just becomes that that same thing day in, day out, isn't it? Yeah.
But on the other side, you're going after your dreams. And this is what I think is inspiring, is that seeing people go after their passions. I once heard it said that the path of following your highest passion will always be the path of greatest challenge, but also the path of greatest wisdom. And it's almost like seeing someone go after their passions, face that challenge, and keep just exploring it and seeing them in their element. You doing what you do with the wheelchair rugby, watching someone else, a tennis player, do what they do. You sit there, it's inspiring. Seeing people just do almost what they're born to do and what they've trained to do and what they desire, and fully letting it go.
I agree, but I also feel, this is why I don't feel like it's inspiring. And I'm not disagreeing that people won't find it inspiring, but for me, the inspiration is from charities like the IPF, because they actually make it happen. Yeah, I have this dream and I want to go and do this, but without the IPF, would I be able to afford the equipment to enable me to do it? Probably not. Would there be the resources there and the other people to talk to and help in that sense? Probably not. So for me, it's not me that's the inspiration. It is those charities like the IPF and everyone else who helps people like myself out. are the true inspirations, you know?
Yeah. Who don't get recognition.
No,
not enough.
Do it off their own back, go and do the Great North Run to raise money and just, you know, because they want to raise some money. That's the true inspiration, not me living off the back of it almost.
Living off the back. It sounds just like you come off the court or the field and someone says, oh my gosh, you know what you did out there. And the first thing you recognize is, in my case, it'd be like, if my forwards don't do their job, I mean, what do you think I'm going to look like out there? If my centers aren't like literally calling to me and running lines and working with me or chatting to me, and you're like, well, what do you think I'm going to look like out there? It's never in isolation. And you're right, the inspiration, you see the one person doing their thing, around them are so many doing their thing without the TV cameras, without the newspapers, and probably without the financial reward, if that's the case. And I think, couldn't agree more, but it's also, it reminds me of that support that everyone could do with as a sports person. You have we were talking about before, you have the physio, you have this, you have your psychologist now, you have your coaches, you have the facilities, you have the balls, the kit, the da-da-da. You're set up to say, you go be you and go after yourself. But there's so many people who have dreams who have to work either without that or find it and try and balance it and it feels great to you to say that's a support network that is allowing you to be a bit more of like, right, I can go be me.
Yeah. Just eternally grateful for it. And it's sad in a way that not everybody gets that opportunity. And you see people within wheelchair rugby even who have had their accident through no fault of their own, but you know, they haven't been fortunate enough to have the backing of a charity or even like any compensation or anything like that. And it's such a struggle for them. And they could potentially be the greatest wheelchair rugby player ever, but you will just never know.
Yeah. And I think I agree. It's like sometimes people ask me, oh, you know, who's some of the best players you've ever played with? And I'm like, I could tell you, you won't know their names. It was like there was one guy who, when I was at Newcastle, was just backpacking, and he just turned up when we played in the second team together, and he was damn good. Don't worry about his name. You won't know his name. I don't know what he's doing.
I'm intrigued now.
But you're right. You see people who are there to maybe offer you something, a bit of inspiration, something, but they cross your path, and you go, wow. And then they humbly go on about this, but maybe it's just wasn't their dream, wasn't this or whatever, or things didn't turn out, but it doesn't make it any less valuable what they offer in that moment. But yeah, I agree. I want to ask you a question, actually. I was just thinking there when we were talking about going after your thing. What is it that drives you in terms of your goals? Because you're now looking to head to the next games. You've already got one gold.
Yeah.
When you're looking ahead at that, what excites you most about your preparation in terms of, for example, for me, it was like I was always working on the basics of wanting to get them like perfect, inachievable, but still like I wanted to get it perfect. I want to be this, but at the same time, I'm looking to explore new things. You know, could you imagine if I could do this in a game? And what if I could do this? I'm thinking in your sport, there's quite a lot you can do constantly to be like, there's stuff that hasn't been explored yet. But how, you know, is that part of it? Or is it more, what do you like most about it? Is it the contact? Is it the skill work? Is it the competition? What's the
competition's definitely up there. It's an interesting one. I guess we've been blessed in this country. So I'm a low pointer. I'm a 0.5, bottom of the pecking order, most disabled person playing a sport. So we're kind of like cannon fodder for everyone else. You know, we just get picked on. We won't touch the ball because we're not reliable with it. So I guess for me, it's kind of flipping that on its head. And I guess you see it in rugby now where you got props who are like unbelievable with the ball, second and first receiver.
Yeah.
And I almost want to be like that in a way. I want to be like a ball playing low pointer, which
amazing.
There isn't really anything like that in the world.
We've got similarities here, the way we're thinking.
And we're definitely getting towards that. And nobody will ever trust me, and I get that. And that's completely fair, because if there's a big 3-5 tearing down at me with the ball, I'm done and dusted, and that's a turnover, and that's not great for us. But I guess even now there's that kind of aspect in my game, is that inbounding. So my job, throwing the ball in, sounds simple. There's not many low pointers that would do that previously, and now that's changing. Not because of me, because of people who've gone before me and kind of shown that way.
But you're not hurting it by the sounds of it.
So that's kind of where I want to be. I want to be able to. I love defense. I love the way the game pans out defensively. I can see the patterns developing, and you can read where people are going to be. And I think that's kind of one of my biggest strengths. But I want it to be even better. Like, I want to be able to say, if a mid-pointer's got the ball, they should beat me all the time, but I want to flip that on the head, and I want to win 7 out of 10 of those battles. Like, that's the kind of stuff that gets me, and it's probably annoying for coaches because it's not what they want me to do. It's not my role on court. Like, a lot of the time, they're probably pulling their hair out because they're going, just take out the other lower and we'll be fine. Like, nah.
No, I'm going bigger.
Yeah.
I'm here for big things.
But then on the flip side of that, like yourself, like, I don't want that spotlight. I don't want that limelight. And pre-Paris, we kind of did a lot of stuff around the game face model.
Okay.
So you go away and you pick like 3 attributes you want. And mine was kind of like working in the shadows, be that consistent 7 out of 10 player, and be effective. So then you mold that into like a player from another sport or somebody. So I went with Mark Wilson.
Okay, yeah.
I felt like there was a lot, he kind of gone unrecognised for a lot of his career. But
everyone that plays with him is going, I want him in the team.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Works his ass off.
Yeah.
Gives everything. And then with that, you then pick an animal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I went like with a pit pony.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, nice.
Because it's kind of got a relevance to where I'm from, big mining villages and all that sort of stuff. And that kind of being unnoticed thing, I think, is kind of where I want to be in life. But then equally, you can't, like you were saying before, you can't do all this and be the best and go unnoticed. There's got to be some sort of.
But there's so much that resonates with me on that, about that stability and that consistency and that trust level mixed with this other part, which is saying, I also want to revolutionize a bit the way that this is done, whilst all the time being like, but I don't want to be singing and dancing at the top and all like, I just want to go about my business. And there's something about wanting to change the way things are done, whilst at the same time being able to do all the stuff that's needed of me. But you want to shock and surprise and change. And it's like super powerful, but all done in a sort of more modest, humble way of saying, I'm not trying to tell anyone else how to do it, but I'm going to go about offering something that says, it can be done this way. And I know you think you're supposed to see people like me like this, but you can see me like this if you want. This is who I want to be. And I think that resonates massively as an opportunity. But it also, it's just one to strive after. That can get uncomfortable at times. Like, you got to face some, like you said, people saying, yeah, I know, but you just want me to do that. You're like, can't just do that, But like, that sounds like you're living it fully.
Yeah, I don't think there's any other way to do anything, is there? If you're going to half-ass it, what's the point in doing it? If a job's worth doing, it's worth doing properly, isn't it?
Absolutely. And how do you get on with your teammates within the...
Great. We've got a really good squad at the minute.
Yeah.
A few new faces coming in.
Okay.
Young guys as well. So that's always like, I thought I was young, and then you get like 18, 19-year-olds coming through, and that language is different.
That's why I retired.
Yeah, everybody's great, and everybody, I know we were saying before, like, some people might not give you the full story and be complete, but I feel like everybody at the minute is.
Yeah.
We're all striving for that one.
With an open feeling about everything.
Yeah, I mean,
honest.
You look at the way we do our analysis is, we'll go away and you might make 10 clips and none of them are for you, they're for other people. So, if that was me, I'd do it this way, that way, try doing it.
Nice.
And it's paying dividends at the minute. And
what's next on the calendar for you guys?
Next major tournament's World Championships next year. So pushing towards that. A few tournaments before then to kind of build into it.
Yeah.
And really see where we're at. LA's the ultimate. It's just crazy. We were saying before, like 4-year cycle, and we're already a year through it. I think it was a year since the Paris Games.
Oh man,
3 years left.
Feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it really does feel like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's daunting because we've still got a long, long way to go. But yeah, just excited to see where we can actually get to.
And how do you go with that focused mindset? You're on a mission. You got your purpose. When you start traveling and heading to these games, are you seeing just the court and just the hotel or whatever, or are you able to relax and see a bit and enjoy it and around it, or are you there and being like, I'm here to get this done?
So this is where it's changed a bit for me. So I went to Tokyo as I kind of had that understanding that I wasn't really going to play a lot.
Yeah, okay.
So I maybe had the wrong mentality of, I'm just going to embrace it and have a great time.
Yeah, it must be incredible.
Unbelievable.
Experience.
Unbelievable. Being in the village and everyone from all around the world and different sports, and you see like so many different sites. But then there was one moment within that tournament, it was in the final, and I just got in the full tournament. I'm not going to play. I get, sympathy minutes here or there and gain experience. And then one of the lads had an issue with his glove. And I was like, somebody said, Jack, come over, you might be going on. I went, no, I am not ready for this. And that is like the most scared I've ever been.
Oh, really? You felt it?
And from that moment, it's always been like completely flipped on its head.
Were you a bit out of it for a few minutes when you started out there, or were you able to?
So I didn't end up going on, and the relief was like,
interesting,
on another level.
Yeah.
So then going into Paris, I don't know whether it helped having had experience of that games before, but I was very much more, I'm here for rugby and nothing else.
Yeah.
But even still, I remember, we're in a tunnel. It was a semi-final, waiting to go out. And I feel like if somebody'd said to me at that time, pack your bags up, we can get away and get out of here now, I think I'd have gone, yeah. Like, I was so nervous. And I don't think anything can ever prepare you for that. And then we went out there and made an absolute hash of it anyway. So maybe I'd have been better off just going.
I've had similar experiences. I would have pictured it to be this idea that if some kind of angel from the future came back in time before the game and went, here's a contract. Look, everything goes fine. You do well. Everyone respects you. You keep your place in the team. Everyone thinks you're great. Sign here. And you're like, yeah, but it's got a small print. It says, you don't get to go and play the game. Don't get to experience it. And you're like, give me the pen. Give me the pen. You're thinking, what am I doing? I've spent my life training for this. Like you said, you're getting up, training on your own, just thinking, I want to be there. And when it comes, you go, I don't want to. And I would have signed that contract every time until you get to a point afterwards where you go, the winning's so cool. The winning doesn't change anything. It's the experience that changes things. And the winning is an experience, sure, but it's so less powerful than all the challenge and all the things where it doesn't go right, where you make a hash of it. But you sit there in the hash of it and go, right. And then this extra comes up and you're like, now we go again. And you're like, you'd sign that away. All those bits that just to have that comfort. But you're right, I'd have run so many times.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's mad, but it's also part of that drive. It's the flip side of that drive. And when you're experiencing that, it tells me that you're serious. The question is like, it's just that next bit of relaxation that says, I'm all right with whatever happens. But then you've got this drive that's after perfection and whatever. Beautiful space to be in, but like challenging. And like you said, now you're like, I want the next one. you're going to get more of that. But you're like, but that's maybe the point, is to, if you can find a way of handling that kind of inner conflict, the value of that, not just for your own life, but something to share to people who are facing it everywhere, to find the access to the inner workings of yourself, to be able to say, I've got this thing in me, which is like such a powerful energy, and it's tipped over into, oh gosh, and how do I bring it back to that point where you're like, I'm right on the edge, but I'm ready. It's like, that is a skill that is so sought after, but like, you don't earn it unless you're willing to go there. And you're going to get chances to go there, like you said, next year.
Hopefully
tournaments
so.
coming up.
Hopefully so.
Yeah, good for you.
I guess kind of in comparison with that would be Red Roses winning the World Cup.
Oh yeah, wow.
How inspirational do you think that's going to be for women's rugby, for rugby in general?
Rugby in general, yeah. Sport in general.
Yeah. I mean, what
Yeah.
was it? The second biggest World Cup final crowd, which is
Mad. Yeah.
crazy.
I was there in the middle of that and had a real brilliant vibe to it. Creating its own atmosphere, creating its own world, creating its own success, and sending a really powerful message. And it's exciting. It's really exciting. Like we were saying before about revolutionizing things, you're always meeting these sort of almost ceilings or boundaries and sort of going, right, it seems like everything's in the way and against us, but you just pull together, you decide on what you're going to do, you go after it. And if it's through those amazing values of togetherness, only after seeing what you could do, not bringing anyone else down, just going, we're going to create what we want. And then momentum. I was speaking to Rachel Burford, who was telling me about how she played in one of the World Cup games back in 2010 or something, or even before, where they played at Surrey Sports Park, which is great, but watched by her parents sat on a bank.
Yeah, temporary stand
Sat on a bank watching, and you're going, and those times you go, it's all part of the path. You just go, yeah, this is where we are now. This is what we want. This is what we're bringing. And in 15 years from that moment, let alone from the earlier, this is what we got. 82,000, 83,000 people screaming, 40,000 up in Sunderland to kick the thing off. My brother was at that game, and just a really amazing energy about it. And you have to speak to people, the younger, the older, the male, the female, whatever, in terms of getting some stories of what it means to them. But I can only imagine it's powerful, and who knows what's coming. If that was now, who knows what's to come. But yeah, the people, like we've been saying the whole way along, talking about all the challenges that I've faced. There's so much work that you need to just look into yourself and do there. But in order to do that, you need other people to help you, support you, guide you, and be in. Whether it's trying to get through games when you're nervous as hell and you're about to sign that contract that says, get me out the back door, and you got people around you go, hey, come on, let's go together. You go, nah, we'll do it. Or whether it's about getting through those challenges of setbacks where you're like this, someone says this is how it's going to be, and you go, I can't have that. I need to support around me, like the IPF or whatever. Or whether it's family or friends or teammates, it's like, whether it's crowd, spectators, mentioned about that arena, people turn up because they're excited. Their passion is coming to see you play. And you're like, but they make the difference as well. Everyone's in this. It's one huge team sport. And as you said, it's so inspiring to recognize all those that won't get airtime, be on podcasts, be on TV, be lifting trophies, be the center of attention, but without whom none of this happens.
Yeah, it is the growth in that, like you say, was it 2010 to now is,
I don't know what that looks like on a graph, but it's
a
steep curve.
Hopefully
and
it continues.
They're all part of it. Yeah. Where does it go next? We'll see, but exciting.
That's all we have time for today. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
That's been Jonny Wilkinson, IPF squad member.
Indeed, a real pleasure. Thank you, man, and good luck with what's to come. I shall be watching.
If you'd like to find out a little bit more about the RFU Injured Players Foundation, head to rfuipf.org.uk. And for Great Britain Wheelchair Rugby, it's gbwr.org.uk.
Oh, the wrap up. The wrap up.
Literally just cheese jump.
Yeah.